Okay, hey, welcome to Chaplain Chat. I've had Pastor Karl on this before, and going to have him again because we are, I like sharing about different churches, but I really like sharing about our church at Rivercross. And it really, how long do you think Gail and I have been coming there? 10 years?
8, 9 years, something like that.
9 years? Yeah. And, well, it's just a great home. It's not a big, if we get 50 people in church, that's a big group
We're
for
good.
us. But we are a little church, but welcoming church. We just feel so much at home there. So, what are we going to be doing during Holy Week? Da, da, da.
We're doing a lot. We're doing a lot of things to walk in the steps, mark some of those milestones that Jesus walked in and that the disciples walked in, and during that first Holy Week or that first week before the Easter happened that we celebrate. So that starts this weekend. So we start with Palm Sunday, and we're celebrating when Jesus came into Jerusalem. So we kind of make meaning out of a lot of symbols during this time of year. And the symbol, of course, that day has to do with Palm Sunday. So we're making some meaning out of that in a few different ways, and some surprising ways and some traditional ways. So we like to mix it up with both of those. And then we keep going throughout the week with some other things too.
Okay, even though we're we got to get through the Holy Week, the Easter, we are having a little Easter event this Saturday, aren't we?
Right. For years, we have actually 18 years, we've done an Easter egg hunt, just a neighborhood, very local. People kind of walk over, and we've done that just as a way to enjoy, meet people, have a good time together, and bless some kids and help them have a great, safe, fun, good time, and be able to talk to people too. So a very neighborhood kind of feel. And so we get together and we fill eggs and we donate things, and then we put them out, and the kids get to have a good time.
When and where?
It's Shannon Ranch neighborhood, Saturday morning, 9:30 in the morning.
Is there any address to that? Just
No, it's
Shannon Ranch.
There's a little
Park.
there's a little neighborhood park in the middle
Yeah.
of the neighborhood, and it's right there.
And we really have a good time. We get quite a few kids.
Yeah.
This has been a big tradition for like, oh, we got to have an Easter,
Right. No, it started with a lot of families in the neighborhood and getting together and just pooling our resources and doing it, and then churches adopted it, and so we get together as a church and do it.
And we just have a good time engaging with one another.
Yeah.
And I just have a blast doing that.
Absolutely.
Holy Week's an important week, and one of the things we've also been doing at our church is all through Lent, you've given us some chapters of the Bible to read, and I think we actually were in Colossians today, and Ephesians and some Psalms, and that's been pretty powerful because Gail and we do our devotion on that because Lent is an important season to go through. I always see Lent as the struggles, the confusion, the times of our life, the why times of our life, and we can go through them at any time. But Lent prepares us for Holy Week. And I think Holy Week prepares us for Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not having a Good Friday service, but we did talk about the Seder. Did you mention that?
Not yet, but
let's talk about the Seder.
No, I agree. This whole idea of Lent, it does pay attention to the sufferings of Jesus and the challenges that Jesus went through, and leading up to the difficult season of that last week. And I think a lot of times we like to ignore the tough times. We like to ignore the things that are difficult and just move on to the celebrations or the fun things or the lighthearted things. And there's something to say for spending some concerted time thinking that, hey, it's okay. Life is hard, and we have struggles, and we deal with things, and God's whole purpose was to save us and help us. So it's okay, we think, to spend some time really sitting in and waiting in some of those more difficult times. So we do in this season, we do pay a little more attention to sin and the struggles that we have, and the challenges that we all face, and that's okay. But we do that for a season to really let that sink in. And during this last week, there's a lot of that too. So it begins with that Palm Sunday, which is a celebration kind of in the midst of those struggles. And then we get to Thursday, which is the traditional Last Supper meal that Jesus had with his disciples in the upper room. And so for the first time ever, we've never done this before. We're hosting a Seder service. It's not a meal.
Good. I'm glad you
Yeah,
mentioned that Sunday.
yeah, it's
I
not
was
a
ready
meal.
to, yeah.
Yeah, we're not there to eat. We're
Yeah.
there are some tastings and some smells and some foods, but it's not a meal. It's really a lot of the symbols and the smells and
Yeah.
this and the things that make meaning out of that whole sequence. So it's really interesting. It's for all kids, teenagers, adults, anybody. It's really designed for everybody to learn about what God has done for us and retell that story over and over. I mean, it's kind of like story time with kids. You read stories because you want to remember these books, and sometimes you
Yeah.
read those
Yeah.
stories over and over again. And the Seder service is that. I mean, it's telling the story that some people have heard over and over, and other people are hearing for the first time. And you tell it over and over because that's the story that's got to sink in. If any story sinks in, it's that one. So we're paying attention to that story, and we're trying this out and trying something new. So that's Thursday.
At what time?
That's 6:30 on Thursday.
At Rivercross,
And
which is the corners of Riggins
in Demery.
and Demery.
Yeah, so it lasts about an hour or so, and there's no preparation. You just walk in and you join in. Everybody's in it together. There's a little participation, things to read, things to do, things for kids. I mean, it's very interactive. So I'm looking forward to it. It's an exciting thing. But then between then and Easter, we've got a gap, and then Easter Sunday. So it's like a waiting period.
Yes.
And then we got Easter Sunday. We'll do an early service in the morning, sunrise, just as the sun is rising, and then we'll do a 9:30 service indoors.
So the sunrise service would be at what time?
6:30. So
Okay.
yeah. So the
And
sun will
it's-
be rising during that time. It's not dark or anything, but it's
And our
as the sun's
normal
coming up.
worship is 9:30.
Yep.
Okay, so that I when I was pastoring, I loved Easter Sunday. Oh man, people come and some of them dress up in their good clothes or whatever. And yet sometimes I wondered, are they really getting it? Sometimes I wonder if I was really getting it. Because someone once told me, if you haven't been to the cross to see what it meant for him to die for you, how are you going to grasp fully what it means for him to rise for you?
Sure.
Karl, what's the cross mean to you?
I think it's a good way to describe it too. If you don't go through the cross, you can't really get to Easter. I think that's part of that is that the cross isn't the end.
Oh,
We often think that, well, that's
That's
the end of Jesus' life. It's over. The end. And there's
okay.
there's no the end in that story. I mean, it certainly feels like it in some ways, but the story's not done. I mean, none of the Bible's telling of that story is that the last paragraph or the last sentence. And I don't think it's the end. No matter how it feels, it's not. I think that's a good message, for us too, that really nothing that we experience, no matter how weighty it is or challenging it is or heavy it feels, it's not the end. And that's the hope that we have.
Wow. Well, okay, I think we did it.
Cool.
Do you think we did it?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I hope whatever you do during Holy Week, I hope you find a place where you can be at your church, invited to come to our church, and experience Holy Week, experience Seder supper with us, Good Friday, and then really, 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 I want to do the welcoming on Easter Sunday. You know why?
Why?
Because I want to say the Lord is risen.
He's risen indeed.
Yeah.
Will be risen indeed.
Will
Not
be.
yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Hey, thank you for being on this again.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching Chaplain Chat.